G'day! Welcome to the Team SFF Show, the podcast where hunting, fishing and farming meet politics, common sense and the occasional bad joke. Join Mark and Jnr, MLC and Robert Borzak Jr. We'll be diving into real issues affecting common sense Australians, from public land access to gun laws and everything in between. Strap in, we're calling it how we see it.
So what's been going on? How you been?
Good, mate. Bit busy.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously.
Good busy or bad busy?
Oh, it's always good busy. I'd rather. It's I'd rather be busy than not. So.
Not busy hunting?
No, look. Unfortunately, my hunting club decided to schedule their club hunt right in the middle of the sitting week. They went out to Pillager. They went out to Pillager for a week, and smacked some goats and pigs.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got about 15 or so goats over a few days. So,
nice.
Unfortunately, I missed out on that. But that's a shame. Them's the breaks.
Winter hunting's always fun too, because it's like when the land's frozen and everything comes to life a lot slower. I like winter hunting a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Hardens you up too.
Yeah. And perfect excuse to sit around the fire at the end of the night and talk shit. So
I always found in winter, that was the time when, you know the old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. When you're hunting in the winter, it always feels like that's when everything comes to life slower. That's when I think the mornings are more magical, because it's most of the time it's frozen completely. Yeah, and then as the sun hits things,
you start to hear things thaw out.
Yeah, and animals come into the sunny faces, and I just love it because it's. Yeah, look, every sunrise in the bush, and that's something that you try to explain to people, is you get so many unique experiences when you're out hunting. Just like what I said, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, you're there. Yeah. You can hear it. And it's like you're the person, everything that's happening in that sunrise, in that spot you're sitting in, that bird flying along, that fox running past, whatever it may be, or those, watching those deer in the distance, that's a unique situation that you're in. No one else in the world is experiencing that moment. And that's, Yeah, I always found that in wintertime. It's always a bit more magical.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. I during the week I went and spoke at the ADA Metro Branch meeting. Yeah, that was great. Talking about the Conservation Hunting Bill. And look, there were some great questions coming out of that meeting. Rightfully so too, because as we know, as hunters, when it comes to firearms, we're just used to getting hit with bad news. Yeah. And having to say, "Oi, deal with this." Like I went to a couple of years ago now. They had the firearms registry put on a information day. This is back when they were talking about the new gun safe portal and all that stuff coming up. And they basically, had us there. They fed us. They kept it all, nice and, like sandwiches and cakes and all that sort of stuff. And they had this big...
Lure you into a false sense of security?
Yeah. Or like everyone was at tables. It was set up like a function thing. And they were going to feed you and you were going to watch stuff. And first of all, what is sad is that it was a lot of grey-haired guys, because these are the guys who run the bricks and mortar clubs. Yeah. And they're the ones who are shit scared because things are going to get taken off them or bad things are going to happen unless they comply. And we were getting talked to by the bureaucrats from the registry and things like that. This was before the registry all of a sudden disappeared and doesn't physically exist anywhere. There's no countertop where you can go and lodge papers. Yeah. This is all before that, I'm pretty sure. But I was the one sitting there, and these poor old guys at the clubs, because they don't want to get cancelled or regulated out. They were just, some of the questions I was saying were like, please just tell us what you want and we'll do it. And I was just sitting there going, like, what are we doing here? Why are we pretending that we're friendly? Like in the breaks, some of the coppers would come out and talk to us as well. And I was saying to one of the guys, you realize that, you think you're working with us, but we're getting Stockholm syndrome from you guys, So you are our adversaries, unfortunately. We all love police, but we don't think we need to be policed. Yeah. And that's the major issue that we have. So
yeah, I've had similar experiences when I've been at those similar meetings too, where I'm sitting there pushing back against some of the stuff that's coming from the registry, and then there's others happily sitting there with their cup of tea and scotch finger and thinking it's all okay.
And it's such a shame. But what I was getting at there was when I went and was talking about the bill at the club, some of that energy that I had in that meeting where I was just wound up the whole time. Just the fact we were there was just infuriating. You know, I was working for the justice, like I was a parole officer back then. So I was dealing with criminals on a daily basis, and we were getting talked at basically like criminals because they do treat us like criminals in waiting. Essentially, that's how we're treated. But then when I was talking about the bill at the ADA meeting, this old boy put his hand up and said, because I was talking about thermals and how we want to do more, we would love to see more education around thermal hunting because that can be a game changer when it comes to getting ferals off your land.
Yeah.
And we all know you can't use thermals on public land, so we're talking about private land.
Well, you can actually.
You can?
Yeah, you can.
In certain forests, right?
No, in all state forests that are gazetted, you can use can use thermals. Obviously, still doesn't change the rules around hunting at night.
Yeah.
But you can use thermals during the day.
Well, I was particularly talking about a nighttime hunting with thermals. Okay. And that was what I was talking about that night. And I talked about how we'd love to see the introduction of modules you can do. So you're not accredited, but you can say, I've done some training on.
Yeah.
Because obviously we all know that for risk assessments and safety, DPI do all those things already, which is something that the Game Council introduced a long time ago. So I was talking around that. How, that's something that we'd love to see. So you could say to a landowner, I've done the necessary modules. I'm, maybe it is an accreditation. Who knows? What it might be, but it was around. Yes, I've done the extra stuff, and that was heard as, now there's going to be regulations on thermals, and I was like, no, that's really not what it is. Like, don't worry. Like, I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm not here telling you what's happening. I'm saying we want more people to get into thermaling for ferals. And it was I guess I know what it's like to cop it from the other side now. Because he was rightfully upset, and he was just very, very skeptical, and 100% justified of being skeptical because we've all been there. Yeah. We've all been there. So I loved seeing that. I loved that kind of feedback because that is something we need to be aware of, that it does become something that's regulated.
That shouldn't stop us pushing for positive changes our way. Like, we're constantly getting the negative restrictions put on us, and there is a mentality out there in the shooting fraternity a little bit where they say, if I just sit quietly, put my head down, be a good boy,
have my tea and
have my cup of tea and bicky, and
they'll leave me alone.
They'll leave me alone, but that's not the case at all. If you don't push back forward and we don't get some incremental positive creep, we will be regulated out of existence.
Yeah, and look, and that's something that I always tell people when they talk about, so what does the party do for us? So what does the shooters, fishers, and farmers do for us? And I'm constantly brought back to when they wanted to change the definition of what an animal was. When they almost got rid of live baiting, and everything was gone. So all of that fishing, worms on hooks, everything. Pulling octopus out of the water, all of that, squids, everything.
Yeah, the psychological assessment of an animal had to be considered.
That's
before
right.
you interacted with them at all.
So, can you imagine the ramifications if you say that those animals are all sentient now, they're all living beings? You can't use them in fishing now because that's cruel. Because now all of a sudden we recognise that. It's like if we didn't have you in there calling that out, seeing that, and stopping that. Just imagine the ramifications. The amount of, you would have been having a cup of tea and coffee being told by the cops, no more fishing or fisheries or whoever.
Or any interaction with animals, because it was so broad in terms of the definition of what was going to cause an animal to be disturbed or upset. Interaction. And there was the Libs and Nats that went along with Animal Justice Party when they were in government to try and bring this on.
So
that's probably the most disturbing part of it.
Everything would have been gone. Everything would have been gone. And then, of course, because that was the first domino, then hunting would have been next. And then it would have been, no, you can't have that four-wheel drive track because there's some animal that crosses here. And then all of a sudden, roads get closed because of roadkill. And it's like, this is how you are now. They want to lock you in the city. They don't want you in the bush. They don't want you on the land that you own, the public land. So anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. But yeah, and then I also went and spoke. So thanks to the ADA for having us. That was awesome. Brian gave an amazing talk on fallow deer, and fallow deer hunting and all the, because he's a massive fallow nerd, or he's a deer nerd, right?
He's a deer nerd.
He's literally a qualified, educated deer nerd.
Yeah.
So when he gets into like all the surface level hunting stuff that you hear about on most hunting talks about deer and stuff, we all know that because we grew up with that. So I was like, well, Brian's going to give a talk on fallow deer. What's he going to say about fallow deer? And then like I think I know it all. And then he starts talking and he gets into like where they broke off on the family tree and stuff. And I'm like, I love that. I love that.
He presented at my club a couple of months ago, and I had to actually keep speeding up the slides, because otherwise we would have been there till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
He actually warned me about that, and I was sitting right in front of him. And at one stage, he was talking for a while, but I was getting tired, not because of his talk, but because it was late at night, and obviously I'm used to going to bed early with a young family. And I just glanced at my watch, and he saw me, and he goes, "Oh, am I going too long?" I said, "No, keep talking, keep talking. I love it." But his old, he did a talk on hog deer at my club, and that was one of my favourite things.
Yeah, like, it was hog deer at our club too, and everyone was just fixated.
Yeah.
But yeah, like fixated, it still has a limit. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Oh, it was great. But we I think the pub that we were at probably wanted to get home.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame. That's a shame, because it was great. All right. So that was Wednesday, and then Thursday I went to the Hellenic Hunters meeting.
Another great club.
Their setup there at the fishing club is awesome. Like, you go in, there's fish all over the wall. Of course, it's their club is the Greeks, so they put on a spread. Of course, so good. And I stupidly ate way too much dinner with my family before I got there, because I was stuffed, so I couldn't eat anything. I was devo. Brian came along with me as well, and great young club. They've got a block down south, and they go ballistic on it, full of sandbar. Love it. I really hope to go down there one day with those guys.
Yeah, I've caught up with quite a few of them when I've been hunting down in Bondi State Forest. That's another forest they're a huge fan of. So
I think it's not far from there. Not to give it away.
No.
But yeah, it's.
You can tell me the GPS coordinates.
Yeah. I'll send you a pin later.
Yeah.
It's deep in Samba country.
Yeah,
which is really cool, and they actually had the guys from the Hunters Campfire podcast that were there.
Yeah, I saw that they were actually travelling down for a hunt with them.
Yeah, they were.
Later on that week.
Yeah, so they were on the way through, which was pretty cool to meet those guys. They're obviously they're at the coalface, getting people into hunting.
Yeah,
which is really cool. Talking about their experiences, and what I really liked about their talk was they were asking ethical questions about hunting, which is something that pretty much you don't often get.
Yeah,
like I grew up in a world where hunters mostly talked about, well, it was mostly a show-off, right? Because obviously being around Safari Club and that sort of culture, it's mostly all about trophy hunting, and having those guys talk more about the ethics behind it, about a bit more about herd management and those sorts of things. That was great to hear. That's the discussions that they're feeding out to other people. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
They're not bad. They're not bad for Queenslanders.
Well, one's a Kiwi as well.
Oh,
so maybe that's why I had a soft spot for him, because I like Kiwis. But yeah, that was really cool to meet those guys, and spend time at their club, and I hope we're invited back, because that was good.
He won't eat dinner beforehand next time around.
No, I'm not making that mistake. But yeah, everyone was really responsive to the bill. We all had a good laugh at the list of witnesses that were planned for the inquiry, which was good, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, great club. Great young club. Two great clubs, ADA obviously, and Hellenic. So thank you guys. Shall we get into some of the things I wanted to talk about?
Fire away.
Okay, so there was something that that you'd sent to me about. I guess it's kind of some of the pretzel logic that people wrap themselves into when it comes to hunting on public lands, and the natives need protection, whereas we see it as conservation hunting, and we have evidence that hunting on public land opens up more space for natives, especially when it comes to predators. And yet this myth, this narrative, still, misinformation is a word that everyone uses now. That's still out there in the world. That's just, we know, with any common sense knows it's just BS.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one in particular was about the pookila. And look, this was from I think it was called the Daily Liberal. Is that right? So,
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so not the Daily Liberal Party, I think it means that they should.
Not much difference, but
Yeah, these days. Probably the Daily Lefty, but it was, God, it's not even worth reading, but they were having a crack at your inquiry about access into public land.
Yeah.
And saying how this can threaten. And they had a picture of the beautiful little pookila sitting there like this. Here's a delicate little native. And like, I guess the image that's in the author's or the journalist in the writer's head is of, I don't know, a hunter's boot stepping on one of these things or something.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, I don't know, but it's just not reality.
I know. And the author totally missed the point of the inquiry. Solely focusing on national parks and hunting, and the inquiry is much broader than that. But as you said, like, conservation hunters are about removing predators, that threaten our native species. So feral cats, dogs, foxes. Like, why didn't they have an image of a fox with one of these silly pookilas in its mouth? Like, because that's what you're promoting if you don't promote
100%
proper pest management.
100%. And that's even what was so funny about the article was he talked about the rediscovery or whatever of the pookila in far western New South Wales National Park.
Yeah.
And that's not what you're really talking about.
No.
At all.
No.
But it's because, like, it's getting three things that are correlated but not causated.
Yeah.
And just pretending that they are.
Yeah.
Because this means that they're coming to national parks and they're going to kill all the pookilas or something.
Yeah. And, like, to sort of counter that bullshit argument that he was saying, well, I think it was a couple of years ago, there was a report of a rediscovery of long-footed potoroo in one of the state forests down south. Bondi. And, you could argue quite credibly that the public land hunting system in that forest has helped, open space for the long-footed potoroo, because we're taking care of foxes. There's wild dog problem down there. Feral cats, pigs. So, that's an example where conservation hunting and preservation of pookilas, or whatever any other species you want to talk about, can coexist.
Exactly, and that's what's so interesting about the rediscovery of the long-footed potoroo in that state forest. Was they caught it on game camera for the first time, and I don't know exactly how long, but it was essentially thought to be gone in that area.
Yeah.
And then it was rediscovered in a declared hunting area. And as soon as they found out it was there, obviously they stopped all forestry and they stopped all the hunting, they stopped everything to try and get more of a glimpse at this thing and figure out how it's going. But as you say, clearly hunters in there pushing the targeted species around has helped them bounce back in that area.
Yeah.
And how many mainstream media stories do we have about that? Something like that?
None.
Zero.
None. But how many times have you been out in a forest just sitting there leaning up against a tree, might be waiting for a deer or a pig to come through, and you see, a wombat or an echidna or some sort of native animal just wander past, and it's magic. Just to sit there and be in that moment, watching the world go by, and you're the only one.
Exactly.
Only one in the world that's seen that at that point.
Exactly.
In time. Like,
there was a great video that I'd seen on I think it was in one of the Facebook groups from years ago, and it was the most unique photo I'd ever seen. It was a guy. He was I don't know where he was hunting. It might have been in Victoria. I'm not sure, but he was in the backcountry, and he's walking along, and he comes to a spot going down a gully, and there's a feral cat stalking a snake, a black snake, and he sat there and he filmed it for like 10 minutes, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And when we talk about ferals, cats are number one.
Yeah.
Cats are public enemy number one. They cover 99% of Australia, including deserts geographically, and 100% of New South Wales.
And they hunt for fun.
They hunt for fun. Yep, because it's in them.
Yeah,
because we bred it into them.
It's not just about hunting for food for them. It's
exactly.
It's for fun.
Yeah. So, but this cat watched the snake, and it only stopped because it was disturbed. Because this guy couldn't stand still long enough. He said in the comments or said in the caption that I couldn't stand still long enough. So I ended up crunching a leaf, and the cat ran off. But it was this cat and this snake going at each other. And this cat was just taking its time. And he looks like your house cat. He looks like your tabby from next door or whatever. When the tabby's catching lizards or, stalking on birds in the backyard or whatever. Exactly the same. He's facing up to a red belly. I'm pretty sure it was a red belly black snake. Maybe it was a yellow belly. But he's facing up to this thing, and it's like, wow, that cat could have sat there all day. He's doing it for fun. Just when he gets his moment, he'll have a crack. And he must have killed snakes before.
Yeah, 100%.
Otherwise, why is he doing it?
Yeah.
And then he is essentially a direct competitor with that snake in that area. So maybe that's why he was doing it. Who knows? But they eat the similar kind of small lizards and, birds if they can get them. So, yeah. When it comes to something like state forest hunting and they push out some of those cats, some of those foxes, some of those dogs, and something like a long-footed potoroo comes along, they just can't give you the win.
No,
they just
of course
can't.
not.
They just can't. And we saw that in the inquiry. They just couldn't. They were told that situation, and they're like, "Could that have any?" Oh, no, none whatsoever. So it's just what? So it's just it was just a miracle.
Yeah.
So all the
better call the Vatican then.
Yeah, exactly. But Saint Potteroo or something. But all the consequential evidence is there.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it is just a coincidence. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Nothing similar. Crazy. So, yeah, and then we get stuff like this pookilas story. It's completely irrelevant. Not related.
Totally misses the point of the inquiry.
Yeah. Yep.
Just wants to basically shit can the inquiry, misrepresent what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, even if they weren't talking about hunting in this one, just like I said about four-wheel driving, they just said, there's a pookila in this area, so no more driving, close all the tracks, close all the, because this is the Pookila National Park now, or this is a pookila area. And it's like, but we can't operate like that.
No.
Like, you have to be able, it's your public land, you should be able to use it.
Yeah, but it goes against managing the environment, best principles in managing the environment anyway. Active management. Like, you can't just leave these pookilas or the potoroos out there by themselves and think they're not going to have negative interactions with pest species. Like, we got to be out there giving them a helping hand.
And if it's not people out there, like, obviously we're not talking about national parks hunting, but the reality is the only pest management that they do is some ground shooting in national parks, mostly helicopters, and I certainly haven't seen any numbers on how many foxes and cats they shoot out of choppers. Have you?
Oh, a while ago, it's
single digits.
Single digits, but even that, it's a bit unbelievable. Like, you're not out there plating cats from a helicopter. Let's be honest, it's not.
And if they were doing such good work, wouldn't it be great for them to show off all the great stuff they're doing and all the footage that they've released? But where's the footage of all this? Like, if their hunters go out there and they're doing their bit, they're happy to crow about it. They love it.
Yeah,
it's all great. But there's nothing on there from what these ground shooters or these helicopters do, and yet we're paying for that with our taxpayer money. But where's the transparency?
No,
there's nothing. And then on top of that, the SSAA runs a supplementary program for shooting in national parks. So they do engage hunters to come and do feral control already.
Yeah.
So if they're going so well, why does that program exist?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we're talking way too much common sense, which obviously has nothing to do with politics or conservation, land management or conservation hunting or anything in this country. That's for sure. All right, so let's talk about that wind turbine video that you had. That went mega viral.
Yeah, that went crazy. Look, I got sent a video from a constituent who was filming
Yep. Just to clarify, that was Texas in America, not Texas.
Not Texas in Queensland. I did get that question on Facebook.
Yep.
But they filmed essentially a wind turbine graveyard. Basically, where all turbines about to die.
Yep.
Proving that they're not recyclable.
Yep.
And just put that out there and sort of said, well, look, this is what we face in 10, 15 years. Like, how are we going to deal with this stuff?
Yep.
And it went crazy.
Yep.
Like I left it alone for a little bit, and I come back overnight, and it was like over 1 million views.
Yeah,
and,
crazy.
I think even Ted Nugent.
Yeah, it was Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent shared it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he came across my Facebook page, but anyway,
I didn't know Ted Nugent followed you.
No, the wonders of Facebook analytics and algorithms. But
I'm sure Ted follows you now, mate.
Yeah. But look, it went off. It's still going off. It actually flattened my battery on my smartwatch and my phone. Like, I woke up and my phone was on charge.
Yeah.
And it was still sitting at 60%. That's how crazy the notifications.
Yeah, wow.
Boom, 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 boom.
Well, that just shows you, again, talking about transparency. Like, when was the last time you saw? Because everyone's seen, all the main footage, all the main photos of turbines working.
Yeah.
But then, and you've seen a little bit of like when they break down. And, like, we've all seen the photos of them on fire. And the videos of them with like giant oil leaks and all that sort of stuff. We've never seen what they do with them when they pull them down.
Yeah,
we've never seen that
because they don't want to talk about it. No, our government refuses to talk about decommissioning bonds for these turbines and solar farms.
Yeah.
When trying to hide from the fact that it's going to be the landholders that are going to be responsible for getting rid of these things in 10, 15 years.
And I think we were saying it last time. I don't think you can bury them.
No,
because they can damage the water table and things like that. And in a place like Texas, I'm sure their environment is a lot like Australia, where they do have a lot of underground water. So they can't just bury those things.
Yeah,
because of the ramifications that they have.
Yeah, but it's not ideal, having them piled up like that along the on private property or on land as you drive along.
Yeah, they're probably hoping it was in a spot where no one would see it. It was right out in the back corner.
Yeah. But they're the spots that we like to go.
Yeah, And look, we love people shining a light on those things because, what's the saying? Sunlight's the best disinfectant. So more transparency is always good.
Yeah.
So especially over there, taxpayers are going through the same thing that we're going through over here, where the government's forcing through all this green energy change, and that's fine. But let's talk. Let's have a whole conversation.
Yeah.
So what's the whole conversation rather than just a few talking points that you want to ram through?
Well, that's right. Every technology, I've said a few times, every technology has a cost. Let's just be honest about the cost, the true cost of renewables.
Yep.
Yep. And that's including end of life.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And look, if their final point or their thesis statement is we must do this or the world burns, then just say that. Like, using phrases like it's a climate emergency,
global boiling,
now it's climate change. Obviously, we'll remember in the 90s it all changed. All the narrative changes all the time. We've been told a couple of times now we should all be underwater, like all that sort of stuff.
Or not have water in our dams.
Yeah, that's right. The dams will never fill. That's what the Gillard government told us. And then we talked a little bit about it last time. I think when they were talking about the climate emergency, I think it was a couple of terms ago when Sarah Hanson-Young from the Greens had the giant air balloon on the on the lawn of Parliament House in Canberra, and she's smiling happily, telling everyone it's a climate emergency, but they managed to capture the picture right when old mate's blasting the hot air balloon, so all the gas is getting burnt.
But poor old Sarah, she actually thought Sea Patrol was real life, so you can't hold much hope out for that.
Sea Patrol, I don't get that one.
No, it was a TV show back in the 90s.
Yeah,
and she saw a clip of Lisa McCune, who was a famous actor in the
episode. And then came up in an inquiry.
It came up in an inquiry, and the senior public servant sort of tried to handle it really tactfully and go, "Oh, sorry, Sarah, I think you're actually referring to a TV show. That's not a documentary. That's actually
was that a Stop the Boats thing?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and she thought Sea Patrol footage was. How on earth did you get confused with that? It must have been the infancy of social media where someone shared something virally. Who knows? It could have been Russian bots. Who knows? They'll blame it on anything.
Don't try and cover it.
Yeah. But no, I just mean anything other than I made a mistake and I'm dumb. It must have been, Russian bots or misinformation.
Yeah.
In fact, that was all before misinformation. So it must have been good old fashioned idiocy.
Yeah.
But that's good. So so it's interesting to see how when someone does see a bit of transparency around. Obviously, turbines are the big one now because it's kind of all settled on wind and solar. That's what everyone wants. That you can see that we're stuck with them now. Yeah, and we don't make them here. We just dig out the raw materials, and then they go to China. And if they can't, if they can't be sure what's in them, then they're not prepared to bury them. I'm not surprised whatsoever.
Yeah,
whatsoever. Anyway, well done. Let's have a talk about the venison meat market, because this is a big one. Like we all know as hunters, as soon as someone finds out you're a hunter or you've got venison, everybody wants it.
Yeah,
everybody wants it. Yeah. And for me, with my family, we do a lot of sausage making at home. Like my kids get involved in that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
because that's a good way of us to get palatable, meat into our kids. Because again, back when we were younger, all of our meat was free range, grass fed, organic meat. But nowadays, everything gets finished in a feedlot, so you don't know what's in it. It all gets fed food rather than finding food on its own. But venison's still the one that is organic, free range, 100%. I know that there is, and maybe you can tell me. I know everyone. Well, just going back to what I was saying, everyone asks you, "Can I have some?"
Yeah.
And when you make your sausage, "Can I have some?" And then my mind goes back and I don't mean to be insensitive here, but it goes back like a war veteran to me having to plan my trip, going hunting, having to save up the brownie points, having to get out there, plan everything with your mates or whoever it is, family or whatever. And then you finally get out there and it's a freezing cold morning and you get up and you spend all this time and you muck something up with this deer. So, you just shot some meat on the last day or whatever it was. And then you had to carry it all the way out.
Yeah.
Then you had to spend your afternoon doing it and cutting it up and hanging it overnight and all this sort of stuff. And then you finally get it back and then you spend a day sausaging it and making it up and going to the butcher, or not the butcher, but going to the the casing place, going to the place to get the sausage meal, and then you do it all yourself. And then someone just goes, "Oh, can I get some of that?" Like you're a supermarket.
Yeah, almost.
Can I just get a bag of those?
Yeah.
I'll give you $10. $10? $10?
But then you almost feel like Al Bundy sitting on the couch. Everyone's just come along and just grabbed a piece, and you just like
open your wallet.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you end up with barely anything.
Yeah.
But,
look, I used to be in that like the hearts and mind phase.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone's like, "Oh, I give my neighbours venison," but now I'm turning into like the grumpy old, "No, it's mine," sort of thing, because. Like, first of all, I'm very lucky. My family really likes it.
Yeah.
Like, we had venison last night. I think I was telling you. I got some red deer off Luke, who works for the party as well. Luke's always in the bush. He's very lucky, and he's a really good hunter. And he got me this red deer from Hampton State Forest. And I was cutting it up for schnitzels last night.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was in that red deer, but I woke up feeling $1 million today. Like, I had way too much to eat.
Yeah.
And I did it like, I fried it in tallow. It was panko crumbs. It was whatever. But I felt $1 million today. So I can't explain it.
Healing powers of red deer.
I don't know. I asked Luke about it today and said, what was in that red deer? Because I bounced out of bed. Like, I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
And I felt great. And he goes, I don't know. It was a young spiker right before the rut. So maybe you had the right kind of chutzpah.
Maybe.
Coursing through its veins.
Maybe.
I don't know. But it was good. But now you do see a lot more venison on the market. And we're having a look before. Some of it's from South Australia, some of the mainstream ones. Obviously, there's that same company that does all like a lot of the kangaroo stuff, which you see in Coles every now and then.
Yeah.
But the venison's often few and far between. But what's been stopping venison getting into the mainstream? Because we see it in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's
and they have to work
been in the supermarkets in New Zealand for years.
Yeah, and they have to work their asses to get the meat out, but the hunters care. And a lot of those places that do the venison retrieval run as charities, so not for profits. But what are the boundaries in Australia that's stopping us from getting that into the mainstream market? Because it is the best meat. Everyone knows it is.
Yeah. obviously there's things around food, health, and safety in terms of how it has to be processed.
Yep.
And that's always been a hurdle for us in terms of trying to be able to get the meat utilised for charity.
Yep.
Because you have to then. There's a whole sort of chain of custody has to be put through a butcher and abattoir, and there is an argument to say that maybe there is some pushback from those abattoirs that they don't want competition for what they're already running through through those plants. But
well, is it like I hate to say the common vernacular, but is it big meat squeezing out wild meat?
That's a good question. I can't say I can put my finger on what's holding it back. We've had deer farms in the past, that have had mixed success, and there are still a few deer farms floating around in different states. I know there's one down in Victoria near Bright, and there was some in South Australia. And
you do see them.
Yeah.
You do see them. Look, where I'm coming from with this is now we're getting into the stage of conservation hunting is something that we're pushing. But when it comes to the hunting that we grew up with, that was very different.
Yeah.
And what I mean there is you would, like, if you were lucky enough to get onto a spot where you could do herd management, you would shoot a lot of deer.
Yeah.
Because you had to. But nowadays, if you're hunting on, like if you're the public land hunter that wants to get out there, you want to get out during the rut, and you want to get out when the deer have still got their antlers on and things like that. Or even if you're shooting pigs and stuff, you're looking for a trophy animal, but being realistic, you need to be shooting more animals. So I know that when I go hunting, because I have a family that consumes a lot of meat now, I shoot extra.
Yeah.
I'm also weird in that the taste of a rutting stag doesn't bother me at all. Like I've cut deer open and they've been almost green inside, but that was like the end of the rut. But for the most part, I don't mind. I don't mind a rutting stag. I actually heard something interesting about that. They say that if you're from Western Europe, that you don't like the gaminess, but if you're from more Eastern, you don't mind it at all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's my Polish blood. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Look,
I don't mind the taste at all.
I've had some stinky rooster that I probably wouldn't eat. But that's mainly just what they've not from the rut, but from what they've been eating.
Yeah.
On one of the properties I shoot on, they just sit in this crofton weed.
Okay.
And just sit in there and chew on it all day.
Yeah, that's not good.
And you cut them open, and all you can smell is the crofton weed, and it actually taints the meat.
Yeah. Okay.
Even you even get a hint of it when you hide it behind a curry.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So it's just
that's where salt and seasoning helps a lot with sausages.
Yeah.
If when I used to make salamis and stuff, I didn't need the prime meat for the venison. Just get the right bit of pork in there. I actually did at one stage have a couple of batches of wild pork and wild venison.
Yeah.
And they say that if you don't have enough fat in there, that it doesn't work. With the salamis, it just worked. I don't know what the major difference was, because with salamis, obviously it's minimal seasoning, and it was bloody great.
Well, you can have salamis and sausages. You can have it complicated with far out flavors, and sometimes just simple. Like I made a batch with some fallow. About a month or so ago, and all I had was just fallow pork fat and some roasted capsicum and some red wine.
Okay,
and they were just
See, I go for more. So I go to a commercial butcher place who gives you like you walk in there and it's a warehouse and they've got everything the butchers have. So they've got a million seasonings you can choose from, and I just usually keep it simple, like Italian style, which is probably that Italian style, and then obviously chorizo, spicy one. Finding a good chorizo mix. I haven't had a good one in a long time, but a spicy venison sausage is unreal, unreal. And where I'm going with this is we need to get used to shooting more animals when we go hunting.
Yeah.
So those public land hunters are out there for the antlers because they don't get so much of a chance. But we want them to be shooting more pigs. We want them to be shooting more deer. Because that's also good for the herd, shooting more females, for example. And then obviously your meat animals. So we don't want to waste them. So we want to be able to have an outlet where we can shoot an extra animal or an extra 2 animals.
Yeah. And
most hunters go, my freezer's full, I'm done. Like that's a common thing at the end of every hunting talk or hunting video. Freezer was full, job done. but that herd could have done with, a few more. And, just after listening to Brian's talk the other day, especially with Fallow, who herd up and can get very big very quickly, you need to be shooting more animals because it'll let the bucks proliferate a bit more and have more space for the bucks, if that makes sense. So it's just frustrating that we haven't got these outlets.
Yeah.
To all right, I'll take an extra one, and I know I can take it, this place or this service or this charity.
Yeah. Look, we've raised it with ministers in the past about trying to open it up for charities.
Yeah.
Being able to do that, and it's just never really gone anywhere. Like that. The Hunters for the Hungry programs like they have in the US and New Zealand, and it's just never been able to crack that nut. But you know how much meat you can pull off, off a decent sized deer. How far that would spread in terms of feeding homeless people and people that are doing it tough.
Look, I'm just amazed how they do it in the Wapiti Foundation in New Zealand. Like all that meat that comes out in a pack or in a helicopter, or both sometimes. Like it's carried out and then they're on boats, or it gets carried out and then they're choppered. And it's like if they can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's got to be red tape. Like obviously Fiordland's the roughest country in the world for hunting.
Yeah,
and those guys can do it. So why can't we sort out something like that when we have, we don't have anywhere near the remoteness of Fiordland, and yet we don't have anything where they can put stuff together.
Yeah.
Anyway, New Zealand always gives us a good dose of common sense. They have so much more common sense with everything over there because they're just more attached to the land, I guess.
But we've got a process in the making in terms of how we harvest kangaroos for meat as well.
Yeah.
There is a pro forma there in terms of
and
how we do it.
And you can't farm kangaroo. So all the wild kangaroo that you see served anywhere.
Yeah.
All the kangaroo you see served anywhere is wild.
Yeah.
So it is free range, organic, or whatever.
Yeah.
It all gets shot, on foot or from trucks and things.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, this is too much common sense that we're talking today.
Stop it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's too weird. I guess it's just people with the get up and go to do it, or who want to listen, and we just constantly there's just people that that's too hard. I'll put that in a too hard basket. I'll go focus on some other distraction.
Typical response from bureaucracy is, we've always done it this way, so we can't possibly ever think about doing it in a different way. It's just like that doesn't make it impossible.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. There was actually a great one. Lesley Neilson from Naked Gun. Yeah. He because he was a very serious actor, right? Like he was known for being a serious actor.
You would never believe it from all his stuff. Police Squad, Naked Gun. Yeah.
But before he did Naked Gun and an Airplane, he did serious deadpan acting. That's why he was perfect for Naked Gun and for Airplane, because he was so deadpan.
Yeah.
A lot like Liam Neeson. That's why he's good.
Yeah. I can keep watching Airplane like over and over again, and I just pick up on different stuff. Like it's just
I'm Naked Gun. Like in the first one, that opening scene with OJ, obviously OJ, but he's like spying on this drug operation.
Yeah.
And they're docked off this harbour in LA somewhere. And he's like, he has the beanie on it, and he sneaks on the boat, and he's like listening like in the cabin of the guys speaking, and he's there to spy on them and catch them. And it's just hit after hit of just slapstick jokes.
Yeah.
Like he goes to touch something, like he touches a rail, and then looks at his hand, and then looks and there's a sign saying wet paint. And then he like tries to get in, and he like leans on the windowsill, and the window shuts on his fingers. Yeah. And then he's slipping over or doing whatever he's doing, and then he spins around, and then down his face goes into a cake, and it's just
You don't make movies like that anymore.
No. Well, apparently the new one's all right, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it, but
no. But Lesley Neilson went on Letterman years ago, obviously back when he started the comedy stuff, and he had this little thing that was in the palm of his hand, and it was this little it was a perfect toot noise, like, and he would just drop into conversations like, I love this scene because when you're talking, it's like, it's just perfect.
Who doesn't like a fart joke?
And And he said that he carried it everywhere that he went.
Yeah.
It's like, what would be funnier than bumping into Lesley Neilson? And he's a walking gag. Every time you see him, it's just fart gag. And then the best kind of ones that I like are someone like that, like you see them in real person and they're just full of like little jokes that everyone else hates. I guess it's because I'm a dad now, so it's more of a dad jokey style.
Yeah.
But then they just keep going with the joke. The joke keeps going. They're my favourite. The guys that just, the joke keeps going. So can you imagine being at a family thing or at some Hollywood event and Lesley Neilson just keeps farting and just keeps making everyone... It'd
be almost exhausting. And how much you'd be laughing.
Yeah, but then you stop laughing because it's beyond a joke now. Now it's annoying. And then they keep going and it gets funny again. Yeah. That's what I like. But Can I tell you that I started an OnlyFans?
No,
I did. Yeah, it's just my feet, and it's called "Who Let the Dogs Out." You like that one?
Yeah.
Who Let the Dogs Out? That's. I've only thought of the name, but I haven't got any content yet.
Yeah, fair enough.
But people like feet.
Yeah, keep workshopping it.
Okay, I will. Let's have a chat about. Look, I wanted to talk about the basket case that is politics in New South Wales, but look, a lot of that news speaks for itself with things going on, people convicted, trying to stay in, kicked out. The people, good old fashioned orgies, like Bob Hawke would be proud, rest in peace. Bob Hawke, I guarantee you, Hawkey loved an orgy. I guarantee us. Maybe it's a bit of the old Labor spirit still alive there, but look, it's what that's done recently is it's actually been a distraction, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And the government's been like not leeching on that or like leaping on that, but they never know when to miss something. They always know when they can get a distraction. Yeah. So everyone's missing what they're doing and they go and do something else, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like that whole saga of, the Latham sex diaries and, and all that sort of played out on Tuesday in the sitting week last week. And, it came to 9 o'clock on Tuesday night and we hadn't even actually got to one piece of legislation. It was just New Labor essentially going after old Labor. Yeah. And it's just sort of like they all had all their baggage with them and they all knew each other's dirty laundry.
Yeah,
and
they were airing it, right?
Airing it out. Yeah. And I just sat back and watched and went, it's 9 o'clock. How is this serving the people of New South Wales?
Exactly.
We haven't even got to a piece of legislation. Yeah. And then while that was going on in the lower house, Labor were busily ramming through a piece of legislation that gave the Energy Minister unfettered power to railroad rural communities with renewable energy zones and renewable energy projects. And Libs and the Nats were asleep.
Yeah. They just waved it through, right?
Yeah. They didn't oppose it. 3 Nats got up and said, they waxed lyrical about how they've heard concerns of the community, but none of them opposed it.
Yeah.
They could have actually forced a vote. They didn't.
Yeah.
We now find out that James Griffin, the shadow minister, actually hid it from his shadow cabinet.
Interesting.
Because, how can the Liberal Party, with all their resources, not get across that bill and realise that it was a problem?
And yet you figured it out.
I figured it out
with the absolute minimal staffing.
Yeah.
That you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drafted amendments.
Yeah.
Rallied the community to email members of Parliament calling for it to be opposed.
Yep.
And it was only when my amendments hit the floor and got tabled did the Nats in the upper house actually wake up and go, we better do something to save face.
And what have they done other than just give those speeches and wave it through?
Nothing. Well, they ended up coming onto my side and opposing the bill and splitting off from the Libs. The Libs still voted for it in the upper house.
Yeah.
So
that's the kind of representation you get, eh?
Well,
in the bush. Yeah.
That's it.
Labor's non-existent out there.
Labor's non-existent. The Nats were complicit and just waved it through in the lower house. And the country independents didn't even bother to turn up.
Yeah.
So, Bush certainly deserves better
100%.
than that. Deserves more than words, deserves actually action.
Yeah.
So,
because as we know, all the city politics plays out in the bush.
Yeah.
especially with stuff like this.
Yeah.
So all these, I hate to say it, all these NIMBYs, these not in my backyard types, all want to see, greener and all this sort of shit. And then, but who's going to have to actually do it? They're not putting up turbines and stuff in their houses. It's all going to be on someone's private land or public land that we all pay for. But people go, oh, well, I don't go out there. It doesn't affect me. So just do what you want. And that is the politicians as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even talking about voters. I'm talking about politicians.
Yeah, very few of them get past the sandstone rocks in the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
So
even the Blue Mountains now has gone off the deep end, isn't it? Crikey.
New town in the bush.
Oh, God, it used to go there and see, and I hate to say this, but mountain people.
Yeah.
And they're all gone.
Yeah.
They're all gone. It used to be more of an older Sydney,
and
then now it's just old Sydney has moved out there, if that makes sense. Like, it used to be like Sydney a few years behind, but they were still mountain people. So like they had their own thing going on. And then now all the Sydney people have mostly retired out there.
Yeah.
Property prices have gone up, and they've just brought their politics with them.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So yeah, just those kind of distractions, if you pay attention to them and keep your eye off the ball or off the government of the day, even the parties that you think are supposed to be keeping the government of the day in check are asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, 100%. Well, then that's 100% asleep at the wheel. The Libs were deliberately, I would say, had their hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
And were waving it through.
Well, they don't know whether they're coming or going in New South Wales now, let's be honest.
Yeah, but,
they're talking about flipping leaders and all that sort of stuff again. So no one even knows who their leader is.
That's right. But
honestly, ask someone in the street who's leader of the opposition in New South Wales. They couldn't tell you.
No,
they got no idea.
But that speaks to the problem.
Yeah.
They don't have a strong leader, and if you to have good democracy, you need a strong opposition, and
exactly.
That means you need to actually oppose things once in a while. Speakman. Paying attention.
That's his name, Speakman.
Yeah. Live up to your name and actually speak.
Yeah.
And while you're there, maybe do something.
Yep.
But yeah, look, he's definitely dropped the ball on this one, and I would say the wrong Lib has resigned over this. Him and Griffin need to be sacked.
But that member of parliament, she just jumped to the Nationals, right?
No, she's just gone. She hasn't even jumped to the Nationals.
I thought I heard that she was jumping to the Nationals.
No, there was that rumour there because she used to be a National, but she.
Oh, I see.
She got pre-selected as a Lib, so she could get elected in that seat at Goulburn.
Gotcha.
She's just left the shadow cabinet. Essentially, that's all she's done.
And this is her covering her backside.
Yeah, essentially. But she was there in the chamber. She talked about how her electorate's been inundated. By renewables, and then promptly sat down and didn't oppose the bill.
Crikey.
So her hands aren't completely clean on this situation either.
So I'm sure the people of Goulburn know about that. I'm sure the people
they do now.
And I'm sure they're going to let her know that they know.
Yeah.
Because, speaking and voting is another thing, right?
Well, that's right. It's part of politics is is speaking up and talking about an issue, but at some point you've got to act. And do something to try and fix it. Yeah. And that's where the opposition's falling down at the moment. Yeah. That's all words, no action.
Yeah, it's always better for democracy when you have a strong opposition.
Yeah.
Because governments who are running around not in check just do what they want. And that's unfortunately the story of New South Wales and Australia at the moment.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
The Liberal Party are just feckless.
But it doesn't matter what political persuasion it is that has the majority. They'll all take advantage and run amok if the opposition is weak. So
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you need a strong opposition. Doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who they are. But I bet the government's happy that they've got a hopeless opposition that's not even paying attention. They're more caught up in gossip. Yeah. Okay. Why don't we move on to this? This is an age-old one.
Yeah.
And that's one that I wanted to talk about. Because it comes up a lot. And that was, I saw this post pop up on Facebook, and it was, obviously it's a vegan page.
What are you doing on vegan page?
We'll talk about the logic of veganism shortly. Please don't let me forget that, because I've got a great one on that one. But it was about hunting. Hunting is not a sport. That was the picture.
Yeah.
And of course, it's it was a post about three lovely animals.
Did they have name tags on them?
No, they didn't have names. They didn't have. But I'm sure they had. I'm sure they had names in the deer community, just like we heard about insects last time.
Yeah.
We heard about Harold the fly that got squashed.
Mm.
I'm sure this is Fiona, Ingrid, and I don't know
Cecil.
No, Cecil's a lion. We all know that.
Sorry.
No, let's probably Jeffrey, and their family, their functioning family unit is sitting there, and they've got a hunter's crosshair on them, and they're probably on their way to their job. Just who knows if they're commuting to and from work? Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, the depiction was of that, and the quote was, "Hunting is not a sport," and I've actually got the caption from it. And it says, an activity in which one party is unaware of their participation cannot be considered a sport, especially when in the competition lose their life. There must be a typo. Especially when the competition lose their life at the hands of a cowardly human being who has a great advantage.
Mm.
So
I don't remember ever calling hunting a sport.
No, well, this is the thing.
I call it a cultural pastime.
Yes, I agree with you, and I would take it even further. So I've got a theory of just being around, because everyone uses words to articulate everything. So they want to play that game all the time. Like, the hunter's a coward. It'd be better if the animal had a gun and all that sort of stuff. And then we talk about sporting shooting, or we talk about sporting hunting, or hunting for sport, or anything like that sort of stuff. Because that's the only word we can apply to it.
Yeah.
Because hunting for survival is something that we've moved beyond, but that instinct has not left us.
Yeah. Just because some people have switched off that part of their body or what's in their DNA because of the convenience of the shopping centre.
Yes.
Doesn't mean we all have to.
Yeah, or just that we became agricultural in general. And because we have agriculture now, we no longer ever need to hunt because we can keep domestic animals. Like, I get all that, but that instinct is still inside you.
Yeah.
Just because you don't have it doesn't mean
that someone else ignore it.
Or you choose to ignore it. That's true. That's true. But when it comes to the language, they talk about hunting's not a sport. Okay, I get you. But I say hunting predates sport.
Yeah.
I say hunting gave birth to, or hunting invented sport. Just look at the words that surround those two pastimes. So who knows if the word, or what the etymology of the word sport is, but whether the words sporting hunting or hunting for sport came first, who knows? Because sport is, in the Australian vernacular, it is playing a sport.
Yeah.
But the word sport means more than that. But what I'm really getting at is, when it comes to, like, when you play sport, you have a season. Season is a hunting word. When at the end of the season, like you go all season to get a trophy. Trophies are something that hunters have had forever.
Yeah.
They guess that various versions of Homo erectus or whatever it was would carry trophies with them to remember their hunts and things like that. Or, like we've all seen shaman with various animal skins and, wearing hunting antlers and all that sort of stuff. So keeping trophies is something that we've always done.
Yeah. And if you fast forward to the birth of the Olympics, a lot of those, I guess, things that they were competing in had you could trace them back to
definitely
hunting.
Yeah.
Hunting activities, whether it's throwing the javelin, etc.
Look, they might have connotations in war, but a javelin was a hunting weapon before it was a warring weapon, if not at the same time.
Yeah.
So they were definitely at the same time. But even the word game is a hunting word. So the game you're playing or the game you're chasing, it's all, even chasing. Like it's all like running and chasing. It's all like in French, the word for hunting is chase, essentially with two S's. So it's like it's all there. So all this stuff came from hunting.
But I like their overconfidence in when they say that a hunter has all the advantages. And it's just like, that's so not true. You take deer hunting, for example.
Oh yeah.
We've got very few advantages. A deer's got 270-degree view.
Yep.
They've got better sense of smell.
Yep. Their hearing isn't better, but deer can rotate their ears.
Yeah.
So they can essentially cup their ear just independently.
Yeah.
And that's what makes their hearing superior.
Yeah. But their sense of smell is just phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
You know, so how do we have an advantage over them? Like we're essentially in their patch.
Yeah. And that's what
we've got very few advantages over them, other than we've got an implement that we can use, to dispatch them. That's it.
Exactly. It's just the dispatching tool that we use is more successful because we're humans and we have superior brains and we invent things. That's what we do. That doesn't make it any less sporting. That's just how we are now.
Yeah.
But always the person that's saying that doesn't have the hunting instinct. And if they say to you, "Oh, that's not fair, you just go out and shoot animals." And I'm like, if that's all it is, then I'll give you $500. Just go out there and shoot one. Just like completely blind. You know, you just start from scratch. You get a gun license. You do all that. Find where you're going to go shoot.
Yeah.
Make some friendships. Join a club. Do all that. Try and get someone to let you onto their patch.
Yeah.
If not, go to a state forest. Go through the booking system. Get an R license. Get a truck that can take you there. Or if you can't, you have to get a car a car accessible.
Yeah.
Go through all that noise, and then get out in the field, and then wake up in the morning, and then get out in the field. Make sure your silhouette's broken up. Make sure you're not walking over a hill. Make sure you're walking into the wind.
Yeah.
Make sure you're in a spot where there actually are animals.
Yeah.
And just go and show me how easy it is, if that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just complete and utter. It's just the logic of children that it's that simple.
Yeah. But they're coming from an ideological background of just opposing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so they can't actually see the wood for the trees on the issue.
Exactly. And people get stuck in their ideology because fundamentally when most human beings make up their mind on something, whatever it is, whether it's their ideology, whether it's their religion, whether it's their choice of like if someone makes a bad fashion decision and they look like an idiot, but they think it looks great, and they go out to their mates and their mates tell them, "Whoa, you look like an idiot." They will defend themselves. I bought those ripped up jeans or these flared ripped up jeans because I think they're cool. No, they're actually this. People will automatically defend themselves once they've made up their mind on whatever it is. Like even if you make a bad menu choice at the restaurant and it's a pile of crap comes out and you're like, no, this is actually good. This is actually fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes to politics and deep beliefs, deep ideologies like veganism, they're convinced that's a higher functioning thing. So they just go all out. So their logic can't be wrong, mustn't be wrong. It must be everyone else that's wrong.
Yeah.
So I've got to do my best to disprove them because that's what people do. They just dig in. It's very, very hard to be someone that goes, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm wrong on that one, or maybe that's not right. But funnily enough, you know how everyone's seen this in their shopping centres at one time in their life where they have those people that are vegan activists and they're doing something and they're opposed to factory farming, right? So usually they're out there, showing graphic things from farms and stuff like that. Obviously, everyone on planet Earth wants to eat meat but doesn't want unnecessary suffering. So the work they do, if they improve scenarios where farming is more ethical or the standards are lifted, everyone agrees with that. We all want to see higher standards when it comes to our food. But we don't want it belted down our throat with you're a murderer, you're this, you're that.
Yeah. And that's where they go wrong because it's not about raising the standards. It's about ending animal industries. That's where it goes.
But because I'm a sucker for punishment, I like to talk to these people. I haven't seen one in a while, but I like talking to them. And often they're there, covered in blood or something. Or like the latest one is they're holding TV screens out to show you moving images. And you talk to these guys, and there's always one march around with a megaphone shaming everyone. And you talk to these guys, and it's like, so you guys don't like farming or you don't like these animals? Oh, yeah, it's disgusting, and you should go vegan. And it's like, but what about hunting? Like, are you okay with someone getting their own food? And they're always, yeah, we're fine with that. So you'd be okay with us eating kangaroos? And most of the guys are like, yeah, because they're not the top echelon.
No,
who know the message.
You haven't reached the top echelon, obviously.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the pointy end are the ones that fold themselves up in a pretzel.
Yeah.
Whereas even the common sense vegans aren't that radical, I think you'll find. Because you can always get them ethically on if you do it yourself and you get it for yourself. And surely that's okay. And they go, yeah, I'm actually okay with that. Animals live a good life. Animals basically had a fairy tale Disney life. but then one day someone just puts the lights out and it's like that. Like as humans, we'd probably choose to go like that if we had a choice. So of course an animal would be, that's not like, as long as it doesn't suffer and, all that sort of stuff, that's the perfect way to go. So these people often find that they do align with us when it comes to hunting and stuff like that. You don't see those guys out there brandishing hunting things unless they're from political organisations who are directly trying to attack you.
Guess I run in different circles than you.
Because
I only get
you've got to talk to people.
I only get the top crazy ones.
Yeah, well, yeah, because in politics they're the top crazy ones. But I just mean that, when you get these people and you talk to them, and I'm not talking about winning hearts and minds. I'm just talking about asking them questions. So where do you stand on this? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah.
And funnily enough, one time I was talking to the guy who was on the outside watching the other people. He was one of the guys that was filming the other people, like holding the signs up and, laying on the ground, pretending they were dead bodies. And I'm like, so what about hunting? And he didn't know what to say. And then he called out to his mate. He's like, oh, blah, 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 but what about hunting if they get their own stuff? And he was like, yeah, that's all right. Like, this is how well thought out the soldiers are on the ground.
Yeah.
That they're not on message because the higher ups aren't around to tell them what the message is. So, yeah, look, we've all encountered crazy vegans that are in the tank and that's all they believe. That's their ideology. That's their life. But yeah, look, hunting predates sport. It's before that.
Yeah.
Sport came around way after wars were settled, and now we settle our wars for the most part because people used to war over everything. Now we get out those instincts in sport for the most part. But a lot of it's similar. Like I say this all the time to people that don't understand why there is a shooters party, for example. And I talk about it's a culture. It's something that we do, and we do it in community groups. We have our clubs. We practice our pursuit on the weekends. It's just like a sporting club.
Yeah, 100%.
There are still mums and dads and brothers and sisters playing around the hunting camp, just like they are at the football club. And tomorrow, if the government decided, or whoever it was, if they decide, like let's say there was some tragedy on a rugby field, right? Some kid was spear tackled, some terrible injury or something happened, or there was some uptick in like deaths on the rugby field or something like that. There would be someone out there calling for rugby to be banned or rugby to be regulated a lot more than it is now, right? Like that's a viable scenario. And then you would see the news articles and the press completely villainize and only talk about the negative sides of rugby. They would be talking about, oh, this is a sport where people stand around before the game starts, and they talk about going out there and killing the other team, and they want to, smash them and they want to hurt them. And what kind of society do we live in where we talk about extreme violence and these sorts of things? And these men get together and they just drink too much and they do all the sorts of things. And it's like, because if the eye of Sauron came on you and suddenly wanted to pull out only the negative sides of your pursuit, whereas you just want to say, I just want to chase a ball around with my mates. I just like all these terrible things. Like, I've had 2 knee reconstructions from rugby, but I love rugby.
Yeah.
Like just because I've been hurt doing it or bad things have happened. Like there was a guy I went to school with died from a heart attack on the rugby field. It doesn't mean I suddenly hate rugby or like I've seen people with serious injuries. But it's just like, that's part of the sport, part of the pursuit, part of the culture. So if they had the eye of Sauron come on them like that, and all of a sudden the government was watching and the government was regulating, they wouldn't want their sport to get regulated out of existence. So you would have, in my opinion, you'd probably find the clubs galvanizing, the clubs forming peak bodies, the clubs forming a political party, and you'd probably have the rugby party because all they want to do is practice their culture and they want to be left alone. But then the other side doesn't want to leave them alone. And that's basically where we are.
Yeah, and I think that's, going back to the whole veganism thing, that's the problem we're at, whereas, they just want to ram their ideology down your throat. Like I'm not coming out here and saying everyone should go out and hunt. It's for everybody. I know it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's for me. But I'm not going to ram it down someone's throat and say you must hunt. Whereas the opposing side, they are at the extreme where they go, I don't like it, so no one should be able to do it.
Exactly. And that's what they say, that politics is, in politics there's 2 kinds of people. People that want to be left alone and then the people that won't leave them alone.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have the other one. I forget who said this one, but it's when it comes to people who are on the left and on the right in politics, you have So people on the right think the people on the left are wrong, whereas the people on the left, the people on the right are evil.
Yeah.
So they're so much more emotionally, because when you think something is evil, that's an emotional response.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think someone's wrong, you come at them with logic and reasoning and facts and all the normal stuff. And then the other side is like, no. All things aside, you have to lose because you are the devil.
Yeah.
Because you are the absence of anything good. So you are the worst kind of person in my head. So it's an emotional, visceral response. And that's what we're up against all the time.
And talking about people that just want to be left alone, well, we're part of a party that, you've got three people or three types of people that just want to be left alone, shooters, fishers, farmers.
Exactly.
All they want to do is just be left alone to pursue their
and that's what I mean. And those people, surprise, surprise, feel to be are on the right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying those people are perfect or they're pure in their practices. That's why we have the democratic system where it goes both ways. Where there's a swing both ways, so people can always vote for what they want and have difference, and both sides keeping each other in check, and that's all great. But for the most part, they're always would just want to be left alone. Yeah. So interesting. But I was going to say something else about vegans, but I can't remember. No, we'll leave that one alone. Why don't we talk about the actual conservation hunting bill inquiry?
Yep.
We talked about the submissions were closing last week.
Yep.
And they weren't all published for some reason. There was supposed to be 1,700.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I don't know whether they've finished publishing all of them yet. But the committee goes through that process of having to vet all of them, read through them line by line, making sure that there's no adverse mention. Yeah. And so that takes a bit of time. So I know I've answered a few questions online over the last week about, where's my submission? They were thinking it was some great conspiracy, but they just hadn't been processed.
And that goes back to the people being sceptical again. Shooters being sceptical because they're used to dodgies being done on them and bureaucrats doing them over.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I put in my submission, because I did mine super early, because I just wanted it in and done. Obviously Robert Senior was on the committee. I actually got a call from the Secretariat, I think it was. Is that what they're called?
Secretariat. Secretariat. Yeah.
Secretariat, and they said, "Oh, Mr. Borzak, we've seen that your submission has been here, and it's great, and it's fine. And did you want your name suppressed or whatever?" I'm like, no. Like, I don't know, whatever I ticked. What did I tick?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, yes, okay, sure, whatever it was, I'm happy to just go with that." It's like, okay, but I'm not sure we can accept your submission. And I'm like, "Why? What's wrong?" And she goes, "Well, I was just checking with the lead counsel, and given that you're on the inquiry, I'm not sure it's appropriate that your submission." And I'm like, no, I put my middle name in there. Like, I'm not, like, father, son, different. Oh, okay. And I'm like, but he doesn't have a middle name, and I do. So can't you tell that? And I'm like, look, I suppose my date of birth wasn't on there or anything, although maybe it was. I don't know.
No, it wouldn't have been. No. But they're generally always a little bit nervous about procedure.
They were very nervous.
And policy.
And I was just like, no, don't worry, it's all good. And they're like, oh, okay, sure. We'll make sure we put it. Okay, great. So that was okay. But that was that was a bit of a funny situation. So how much of it did you see?
I didn't actually. I ended up watching the playback of it. I didn't end up. I had some things on that day.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure, because I know that they initially, obviously it was live.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it finishes, they put the whole thing up until midnight or something. And then they just, now when you go to the link, it says come back and like check back later or something.
Yeah. And they'll throw it up on YouTube later.
Just whenever, right?
Yeah.
Like, who knows how long they're going to take. But I watched it and it was great. It was great. So it's a shame that we can't bring up bits to talk about it now. But look, it was obviously we had the two sides. So the government was chairing it, and then the opposition had the 2IC, the deputy chair, and then we ended up with a situation where they would have the crossbench time, and that was when the Animal Justice and obviously Robert Senior with the Shooters Party, and the Greens had their chance to talk, and I think there was another Liberal lady who was also on the inquiry. but it was mostly, yeah, they have the time to just go berserk.
Mm.
And I got to say, from their side, like obviously I'm probably biased, but I think I'm pretty fair-minded. They just stuck to the same low energy attacks from the other side,
Tired lines,
and the same scare campaign nonsense. And it was just like, is that all you have? And we all saw everything play out in the media in the lead up to it with this scare campaign. And they even sunk as low as bringing in Port Arthur charities.
Yeah.
Like that had absolutely nothing to do
with the bill,
with tackling ferals,
yeah,
with any of that stuff. And yet they had to go for it. And just before we get into a bit more of it, I was talking about this with someone recently, and they were saying, that's just a propaganda unit that they're going to set up. And it's like, okay. So every big industry in Australia, in New South Wales, anywhere in the world, has some sort of government support for what they do.
Mm.
They have some sort of element of promoting that industry because it's beneficial to the economy.
Yeah.
But at the moment, hunting, I think the survey or the study was not a study. I think it was a report actually. I think it was DPI involved and a few others, and they looked at the economic impact of hunting just in New South Wales, and it was $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Billion dollars with
third largest primary producer in New South Wales.
So that rivals meat and poultry.
Yeah.
And yet they say a propaganda unit, and it's like, well, I go to the butcher or I walk around and I see get some pork on your fork, and I see why not eat eggs. You see all this sort of stuff, but where's the pro-hunting stuff?
Yeah, but you see from a government perspective, they've got a fisheries department that promotes fisheries. You know,
wreck fishing on steroids.
Take your kids fishing. You know, gone fishing weekend, all that sort of stuff. They use research to promote, the benefits of it and etc. But you can't do the same thing with hunting.
Yeah. So like you call it propaganda, but then so is put pork on your fork. But then so is have safe bushwalks. So is regional New South Wales, enjoy everything. And they're all propaganda units because what's propaganda? And yet we have such a big industry, as you said, the third largest primary industry, and it's like, so why haven't we had any? Like if it's not self-funded, so wouldn't promoting something that's really beneficial to the economy and is, I'm sorry, but we all learnt with COVID, being out in the bush is so much better for your health than being locked at home.
It's the ultimate social distancing.
That's a good one. I like that. Then now it's like, oh no, that's just a propaganda unit. But I'm like, but this is good for people.
Yeah,
this is good for the regional economies. Yeah. The best thing about hunters is we blow through and we go to the bush. Like when it comes to regions, we don't hang around. We're not we're only in town for a night or two most of the time.
Yeah,
and all that extra money that we're sprinkling around, filling up petrol, buying pies,
buying
groceries, and we just get out of your way.
Yeah,
we're the best. We come and go.
We're the best type of tourist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't hang around. We're not blocking up staff time.
Yeah.
It's so that the logic of that was just like, again, so low energy and so uninformed. But again, that their side thinks that we're evil, so we must be stopped.
They also
like that sort of thing is a smear. And I'm like, if they're going to promote that economical benefit, that industry, then it's about bloody time.
Yeah. But they also think we're low educated.
Yeah.
And we're just a bunch of numpties and don't know anything.
Yeah. And that's what was so great about the inquiry.
Yeah,
because
you totally dispelled it.
100%.
Our witnesses totally dispelled it.
100%. And most of their side has already been in the media. That's how desperate they were.
Yeah.
They've already been, most of their witnesses have already been on the news, have already been trying to air their side in public, and it hasn't been working.
No.
Like any of those news stories about those things, just check out the comment section.
Yeah.
Check out the comment section. No one's on their side. No one's on their side. So you have to be very careful when you're trying to push an agenda, because it doesn't work anymore. Like people are a lot wiser to how things go. Like obviously we had the Invasive Species Council come up there as well, and they pushed the same thing. They actually had the gall to open, because everyone gets an opening statement, right? Obviously they swear the affirmation, which obviously means, or the oath, which means nothing to people anymore. But that's another story. People talk out both sides of their mouth and have absolutely no problem. But he literally said we are a non-political, non-partisan organisation. And then...
But IDF I've got two patrons of the Invasive Species Council that are former Greens members, Bob Brown and Christine Milne.
And I used to work for the Greens.
I used to work for the Greens, and I get money from governments of the day to essentially then throw that back in the government's face and say, you suck, you're not doing it well enough.
Give me more money.
Give me more money. It's a perfect self-licking ice cream.
Well, these people, self-licking ice cream, I like that. But these people that I decide are the best ones, you give them more money, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after they said all that about how we're non-partisan, they just launched into pure activism.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like you can't be both.
No.
Like, make up your mind. And then saying the same old things, like just saying that hunters are weekend warriors and we're going to push all the animals into national parks, which you should be happy about because you reckon you're better at managing them than us. But that's another story.
But you talk to farmers and they go, we know where the animals are coming from. They're coming straight out of the national parks.
Because again, like we talked about, they're doing such a bad job. They have a supplementary shooting program
that
they have to run to get, normal shooters in there to help out with the national parks. That's how badly they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, they were getting, where are we? Yeah, an activist tirade and just calling us people like weekend warriors is such a bloody insult to again, all the people that go out in the bush and spend all that money.
Yeah.
Because
I actually hunt during the week most of the time.
Yeah, but but they're trying to say, but what we just talked about with the benefits of the economy, weekend warriors are beautiful for the regional economy. That's what keeps that stuff going.
Yeah.
So
how is it any different to someone going out for a bushwalk on the weekend or going up to the Blue Mountains and look at the art galleries and having coffees and whatever for the weekend? It's the same thing. And
you can apply the same logic. They're walking in national parks and just getting lost and dying in national parks, and all these weekend warriors are going out there thinking they're outdoors people and doing all this sort of stuff. It's like, so you can apply that ridiculous logic anywhere.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they just want you to stay in the city, stay out of the way, leave it up to them, and they want us to eradicate everything. And just nothing's going, because no one's going to enjoy it. So how are you going to kill them? Oh, we're going to shoot them out of choppers. So the people that are flying in choppers, you don't want hunters enjoying that.
No.
So that these guys aren't enjoying themselves. Oh, no. So what are they? Are they crying? Like every time they pull the trigger, there's a little tear rolling down their cheek? Because, I'm so sorry. Every time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And these professional shooters, because they aren't stopping and doing the grip and grin like we do when we shoot something, and we're really, really happy because of the success. It's like, that's in us. We're supposed to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like a weekend warrior, there's nothing wrong with that. And these guys, like, if we're banding names around, they're just armchair activists.
Yeah, 100%.
Like one of the guys said he had an R license, and then we brought up the long-footed potoroo that was found in the hunting area, and he just couldn't bring himself to see the correlation.
He would have turned himself in knots.
Oh, they were. Even when they were presented with it. No, nothing to do with that. Hunting's bad, but I've got an R license. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then just speaking about all the dispelling of myths, Ned Macon was there from the Pig Doggers.
Yeah, brilliant.
He was unbelievable. I think I was saying to you before, when it comes to these animal activist people, the Pig Doggers are like their worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Because all they think about is all the terrible things. They just see like a bloodbath, like it's Watership Down for them. Remember that movie? Watership Down with the rabbits?
No, I can't.
Oh, it was an old cartoon movie. It was like a horror. I remember thinking it was a cartoon movie. They remade it a few years ago, but it was a cartoon movie of like rabbits living in England somewhere, and they got moved around. But it was obviously like a lot deeper than that, and it was about rabbits slaughtering each other, and it was all crazy, and it was like a nightmarish. Well, it's a kids' movie, I guess, but it was a book first, so. At least when I was a kid in the 90s, that was a kid's movie because it was a cartoon. But it's kind of like how Animal Farm was a cartoon. It's not really a cartoon.
Yeah, there's a hidden deep message behind it.
But parents showed it to their kids, Watership Down. So they think that pig doggers are the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And, they're the ones where everything's a bloodbath and it's just animal cruelty everywhere and it's this and that. But then Ned got out there and he was so articulate and he explained to them about the Great Australian Pig Hunt.
Yeah.
And how, after... It was so great that he was up after the Invasive Species Council because they just trashed all the stuff that we'd done on public land.
Yeah.
I think the numbers were only 100,000 pigs or something that we'd shot. And then Ned comes in next and goes, oh, yeah, in the Great Australian Pig Hunt, we shot 1.6 million. Or we killed 1.6 million pigs. And they're like, oh, shit, okay. And And it's like, so how much government funding? None.
Mm.
And
But you go to the 100,000 pigs that we apparently took on public land.
Yeah.
That's not much lower than what LLS did for,
Exactly.
Exactly.
So then how much did LLS do when every single time that guy or those people start the operation, it's just money, money, money. It's just a cash register ticking over.
Yeah.
And yet the pig doggers did it off their own bat. And they had a study with Macquarie University. And they've been collecting DNA. And all the stuff that was put up against them was, there were animal welfare concerns. Like, talk about low energy. It was, there were animal welfare concerns raised by some senior regional police. And Ned had said, but that was just 2 police in one area that put that up.
Yeah.
And then it was, once they framed that conversation, once they'd framed that it was senior police, which is technically true, but they're not senior police. That, like, if you're the sergeant of your station, you're senior regional policeman.
Yeah.
But when the average person hears about that, they think, the commissioner. That's what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
So when you use that kind of language, you're purposely misleading people.
That's right. And
there's an outcry.
And it wasn't those police. They weren't representing the view of the whole police force. They were representing their own tiny microcosmic view of the world, and they were being armchair activists in themselves.
Exactly. And could you imagine if, like, I don't know if off the back of that, but I know that pig dogging was banned in the ACT. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something as flimsy as that.
Probably.
Once that language is used, they apply it across the board, and it just becomes the narrative. Senior regional police in New South Wales are against this. It's like, well, it's not the truth, but it's also not a lie.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how did we get here? You know? And so, Ned, well done.
Brilliant.
You were so articulate. You were so brilliant. You charmed the pants off them.
Yeah, Ned's appeared before inquiries for me before. He does a great job.
And they're feet on the ground, doing the Lord's work for, like, catching ferals. Families are involved, communities involved. Like,
yeah, what's the bad?
They were hit with the biggest dose of common sense by Ned, and they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
it was so good. It was so good. And then after that, we had the scare campaign again from the Port Arthur charity. So what on earth they were doing at the inquiry was absolutely beyond me.
They were put up there by the Greens to try and stir up the Liberals.
Yeah. Okay. Because we know it's we know what the Liberal side of politics thinks about guns. Anything to do with guns. You hunt with a gun, so therefore that must be bad because guns are bad.
Yeah.
It's just primary school logic.
They all still worship on the altar of Johnny Howard.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that last time. Until he shuffles off, I don't think they can shake out of this nonsense, because they're way too city-centric. And it just doesn't, it just defies all. Like, we're living in the internet age now, where people know what's true and what's not. And the logic of a gun's bad. Hunting uses guns, therefore hunting's bad. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they got up there, and one of the guys was talking, and obviously they let them talk to the Greens and the AJP. And then when it came for the shooters, fishers, farmers question, he just said to him, obviously understand, respect your views on gun rights and gun safety, and everyone agrees, obviously, because everyone does agree about safety in the community. Because we're talking about hunting, we're not talking about, But they asked him, so what expertise do you have when it comes to conservation hunting? And he did humming.
I could see his fingers started shaking and twisting.
Like a leaf.
Yeah.
And then there are a couple of follow-ups about, so are you opposed to hunting? And he's like, no. And it's, all right, so what are your views on this? And then he just offered completely on his own that he's held a Victorian hunting license for X amount of years. Like, I think it was like 30 or something years.
Then what are you doing here, champ?
Yeah. So what do you like? So what do we disagree on? Like, so did you just come here to scare us with irrelevancies, or do you want to talk about hunting? And then promptly after that, his time expired. Yeah. And that was the end of it, because you could have kept him talking. But it's like people fall into those, I disagree with you and that's it. And even someone who's a hunter has guns are bad. And he was there to talk against the hunting bill, had nothing to do with watering down gun rights.
Yeah.
And the only thing that they've put in there is suppressors, which are already available under license.
There's already a process.
Yeah. So we're not talking about watering down any laws. Nah. That's all a myth. And they just want you to keep buying it, because people just get snippets of it and they go, oh, the watering down gun laws. Oh, no, that. No, we can't have that. We can't have that. Yeah, but we're talking about going out hunting for pigs, chasing pigs, sometimes with a knife and dogs.
Sometimes with a gun.
Yeah, sometimes with a gun, sometimes with a bow. This is all, all of this is all about that. So that was interesting. How he was purposefully making them blind to his hunting background.
Yeah.
And now we know.
Yeah.
So he just ended his career, as far as I know, in terms of a gun over. Yeah. He's a hunter.
Yeah.
So okay, what does he want to be like? Like what was it during the American campaign? Like white dudes for Harris. He wants to be hunters for gun control.
Hunters for gun control.
Hunters for gun control. Yeah. And the other one that was really, really great was Nathan Moran from the Aboriginal Land Council.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just like had a big bucket of common sense and just poured it all over that inquiry.
Yeah, well, because Greens and Animal Justice would have been able to handle that.
They didn't know what to do with it, mate. And he was talking about, from their perspective, how they're locked out of their land. And he also talked about some great programs with like ranger training that has Commonwealth funding. And he actually used that. It was a great moment where he used that to educate them all and open the door to, hey guys, can you help fund my program? Because they don't have enough funding. So hopefully he planted a seed with that, because that was really great. But he also talked about ferals being everywhere, especially in Sydney Metro, because they are. Yeah. Like there's foxes at every boat ramp on the harbour. There's like in the inner west, you drive around and see foxes smashed on the side of the road. So we know they're everywhere, but no one's talking about it because they all think this is a bush issue. Whereas he brought a bit more of the metro common sense to it as well. It was great. It was great. And he even spoke about, obviously damage to sacred sites and things like that, because in the Sydney metro area they have the most sacred sites in the country. And he's like, well, if animals are running around in these things and we're not managing them, then they're destroyed forever. So we're talking about preserving Australia's history as well, and they did not know what to do with it.
Yeah, right.
They had to just leave it alone.
Yeah,
leave it alone. And you know what the funniest bit was? So after it all, they threw in one more question. The AJP threw in one more question to him. After him, like I said, they're all covered in common sense. They're all covered in good stuff. And they said to him, so you a member of a political party? Like thinking that he was the Shooters Party plant or something. Yeah. It's like, no, he's someone that has the same culture as us. We share the culture. Yeah. Like talking about
and we share the common sense.
And we share the common sense. And we both share we both want to see recognised the cultural right to hunt. Yeah. And that was, it was great to see. Great to see. And then of course we had the Peter Zark and Lance from the SSAA were there. Yep. They were fantastic, talking about what a big organisation offers and does. Yep. Like Peter talked a bit about the supplementary shooting program in national parks, which was fantastic. And then Andy and Brian had a lot more of the small club perspective. Yeah. And as we know Brian very well, he is an absolute deer nerd.
100%.
He's worked for how many park services has he worked for?
Yeah, like his academic history. Yeah, it's just second to none in terms of wildlife management and conservation, and
he knows more. Like I dare to say he knows more than, especially about hunting and public land and national park services, and that's even. Forget about his education. That's just his work experience. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone who's more well informed on any of this than Brian.
Yeah, and that would have frustrated. Well, I know it frustrated the shit out of Sue Higginson.
Oh yeah,
because she likes to think she's the smartest person in any room, and she quite openly, treats myself and Robert like we're uneducated buffoons. And it's just like, well, I've been to uni. I've got several degrees. Yeah, so is your dad. Like we're actually quite intelligent, and we're not rare in our fraternity.
Yeah. Well, going back to what you were saying,
she's still treated. Brian like
because he was university educated, so therefore you must all think the same way as me. It's like no, some of us love the bush, some of us love hunting, some of us love getting our own meat or whatever it is, or whistling in foxes and blah blah blah, or shooting ducks. It's like just be like you don't have a monopoly on what's smart and what's not smart.
Yeah, that's right.
Green's politics doesn't make you smart.
No,
but that's a conclusion.
Makes you blind.
Yeah,
to others.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a bit of a heated exchange there. Brian said shit 3 times in the inquiry, which no one called him up on. So that was great because they could see his passion. Yeah, they could see what he was like. He knows what he's talking about, and obviously he had a lot to do with this bill. Yeah, and that really showed him in what he was trying to tell them. You need to read the bill. You need to know what you're talking about. And he shared his experience with Aboriginal people up in Northern Territory, shared his experiences in New Zealand. And they just basically didn't know what to do with it.
Mm.
They were just putting up these low energy questions, these low energy attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Andy's been doing his thing for so long. He's an expert as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then yeah, look, it was great that we had, I think Andy made the joke at one stage because the SSAA introduced themselves. And then Andy said, well, they're David and this is they're Goliath and we're David over here.
Yeah.
And their perspective was outstanding.
Yeah.
And
look, I've been on conservation programs that have been set up by Andy under the old Game Council, and I wouldn't say we were David in that situation. Yeah, I mean, we did some really good work.
He also spoke at the Kosciuszko National Park shooting inquiry, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he spoke really well.
Yeah, he did.
He is a genuine expert on firearms, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for those guys. But the pièce de résistance, the cherry on the icing of the cake, was the last group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know who they were.
Yeah.
So we had the Cat Protection Society.
Yeah.
And keep in mind this is a conservation hunting bill.
Yeah.
We had the Cat Protection Society. We had Four Paws. I've never heard of them. We had the RSPCA and the Animal Defenders Office.
Yeah.
So they were all sitting together as a panel. And don't forget, earlier in the day, we had people that were trying to conflate violence against animals as having something to do with conservation hunting in the bush, right? Because with all this noise, with all this going on, if all of this gets scarpered, at the end of the day, the animals are still running riot in the bush. So that's the reality that no one was getting centered in. That this is a problem that we're saying, if we can pump this up a little bit, if we can promote this, if we can get about 25% more land access, we reckon we can put a dent in this.
Yeah.
And we can make it really, really cost effective compared to what the millions, tens of millions they're shelling out now. That's the center of this thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is so far out on the periphery where the Cat Protection Society and what was the other one? Animal Defenders Office.
Yeah.
And if you had to write, if someone said to you, draw me a picture of a crazy cat lady, or crazy cat ladies.
Well, I've got the image of that old lady from The Simpsons, the actual crazy cat lady from The Simpsons.
Who just runs and screams and throws cats at you. Yeah. So if I told someone to draw four crazy cat ladies, they wouldn't have been far off. And I reckon...
See, the funny thing about that makeup was you've got four... animal rights activists in those people, and one of them in the middle, Jerd from the RSPCA, pretending that she's not with these other three because
she wasn't as vocal as the other one.
No, she wasn't. She still subscribes to those same views.
Yep. I know. So, and this is the thing. So when I saw the RSPCA there, I'm like, it's bad enough that every time I pick up a chook, it's got to have an RSPCA sticker on it. So now when I go hunting, do I need to get an RSPCA sticker on my, what on earth do they have to do with any of this? That's already like living in a silly world where the RSPCA has to approve your chicken. And
it's a money maker. It's a money making stream.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like the Heart Tick Foundation, giving McDonald's a McDonald's burger, I know.
The Heart Tick Foundation. Well, that's a good comparison because they lose a lot of credibility, right? Yeah. But when they drill down to it with those ladies, so they let them prattle on and they were obviously told what to say and they weren't informed on the bill. No. And these people ideologically, again, because they think it's evil, so they're emotionally invested in it. They don't want any animal to be killed ever anywhere unless it's an absolute last resort. So what a last resort means, I don't know. I don't know. It must be a situation where, some cat's in a hostage situation where it's holding a gun to a human's head, and a trained sniper needs to take it out like some Jason Statham.
How many times was trap, neuter, release mentioned by the cat people? Because do they realise the cats aren't rooting the native animals?
Yeah, that's true.
They're eating them.
That's true. I love the trap, neuter, release thing because if you think helicopter shooting is expensive, think about the logistics of having to capture every cat or every pig and then neutering and releasing them. Can you imagine? The logistics of that and the costs of that? That'd be billions of dollars.
I'd pay a couple $1,000 to send one of these animal rights peoples out there to try and
I'll be great.
wrestle a pig.
It'd be great.
and try and neuter it.
Yeah, look, they think it's so easy.
Go and get one. I'll give you
this. And then a dart gun.
I'll step back and watch.
What do you reckon the muzzle velocity of a dart gun is?
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know.
2 squirts and none of...
Yeah, like, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters a second.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
No, you
maybe
get
50
some
a second?
Yeah, you get some high-powered ones, but still.
Yeah, still. You're not, what, you have to be within 30 yards?
Yeah.
So how many are you going to dart in a mob of pigs?
Mm.
And then you're going to, so then how many vets are going to, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Again, no common sense involved in any of it, but they're the kind of people, and this is something that Ned brought up, that it's what do you want? Do you want a top down? Do you want government to solve your problems?
Yeah.
Or do you want the bottom up? Do you want, you know, the normal people out there who are willing to do this themselves?
Yeah.
Do you want them to help out? So who do you want to solve your problems? The government, or do you want to help do it yourself?
Well, we know...
And these people are big government people.
Yeah, well, we know the Greens were speaking about it last time. The Greens have communist, ideals and roots, and that's that whole thing.
Yeah,
top-down approach, government.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, they didn't represent themselves well because they ended up getting asked, you know, do you think cats should be protected? Which was a pretty simple question. And they just chose to use a different definition of the word protected.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, so you're darting around. But they did let the cat out of the bag, let the crazy cat lady out of the house in a way by saying they don't think animals should be killed anywhere ever unless it's the last resort.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just like, yeah, well, you don't live in reality then.
No, you live on the set of a Disney movie.
Or you live in a flat with 10 cats.
Yeah.
Which is not the real world. All right. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks for doing this again.
No, that's all right.
We I wish we had more funny things to talk about, more funny content. If people have funny content that they want us to talk about or skewer, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Let us know, because I seem to have a bit of a lack of it this week. You know, like the bug getting stepped on, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And old mate talking about
talking about people toning glasses of water.
The carnivore cunnilingus.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No.
All right, well, I reckon that'll do us.
All right.
That's enough from us. See you next time.
See ya.
I'm fucking busting for a slash.
That's it for this episode of the Team SFF Show. If you like what you heard, give us a follow and share with your mates. If you didn't, you're probably from the Greens. We'll catch you next time, and remember, speak up, stand up, and keep your powder dry.